Hare Krishna.
Very well.
Okay, Giridhar Prabhu, please can you tell us the third sloka of Upadeshamrita?
The third sloka of Sri Upadeshamrita is Utsaha Nishchaya Daryat Tat Karma Pravartanat Sangatyaga Satovritte Sadbir Bhakti Prasiddhyati. And the meaning of this verse is that there are 6 things that are favorable and helpful for your bhakti, your devotion. One is always be enthusiastic, utsaha. Nishchayat, always have firm faith in the words of Hari, Guru and Vaishnavas, the process and the scriptures and the process of bhakti. Daryat, always be very patient and tolerant. Even though the desired goal is not attained or achieved very quickly, still remain steadfast and steady on this path of devotion. Tat karma pravartanat. Fourth point means that we should engage in the different limbs of devotion. Because engaging in these limbs are favorable to our bhakti. And sangatyagat. Giving up bad association is favorable to our bhakti. That's the 5th point. Satovritta. And following the conduct, the behavior that our Guru Varga and our acharyas have set. We try to follow that, especially in regards to maintaining oneself while staying in this world. That is the 6th point. These 6 things are conducive and favorable to the cultivation of pure devotion. So, if we analyze and go into each point a little bit, we can see some examples. Like for Utsaha, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in the day before Rath Yatra and the cleaning of the Gundicha Mandir Marjan, he took all his devotees down to the temple. Now, the Gundicha temple is a place where Lord Jagannath goes once a year. And he stays there once a year for 10 days, and then after the Rath Yatra ceremony, he goes back. He stays in Nilachal, which is about 3-4 miles down the road, and he climbs his chariot, his cart, and he comes to Gundicha, he stays there, then he goes back. So you can imagine, and the rest of the year the deities are not there. So the place is not that well cleaned and maintained. It collects dust, because the deities are not there, and it's dirty. Animals, birds, they go in there, and it's just... So before the Thakurji comes, before Jagannath comes, it has to be cleaned. So Jagannath Mahaprabhu, he requested Kashi Mishra and Prataparudra that this year I want to clean the temple. And along with all his devotees, he went to the Gundicha Mandir Marjan, the Gundicha Mandir temple, and first he took brooms and they swept all the dust. And later they took water and they washed it. And they cleaned it with Mahaprabhu with his own cloth. He was cleaning the Singhasana of Lord Jagannath. The whole time all the devotees were doing it, they were chanting the names of Krishna, Krishna. As they were passing water pots, they would pass one to another and they would say Krishna, Krishna. Sometimes the devotees would even drop and they would break and they would just say Krishna, Krishna. They were chanting the whole time and with great enthusiasm they were cleaning. Had a great, wonderful time. And Mahaprabhu was very, very pleased with all the devotees. This is an example of how to engage in devotional service with enthusiasm. If you're engaging in devotional service and you have to be told you have to be always told to do and what not to do, then it probably means that you're lacking some sort of enthusiasm. If real enthusiasm is there, even before your Gurudev or the Vaishnavas tell you, you'll know what he wants and you'll do that service before you're even told. Okay. That's enthusiasm. And Nishchayat means having firm faith in the words in scripture and in the words for Hari, Guru and Vaishnavas. In the process of devotion, being steadfast in the process of devotion. That means that even though that so many obstacles may come, so many anarthas may come, may disturb us, but we do not falter, we do not lose faith, and our sadhana practices do not weaken. And example maybe you can see like how Param Gurudev Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, how much nishtha and firm faith he had in the words of Srila Bhakti, his own Gurudev Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. When there was a question arise on the differences of the commentary of the 5th sloka of this same Upadeshamrita, there seemed to be a difference in the purport of Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Prabhupada. The Param Gurudev, he said that we have to see Bhaktivinoda Thakur through the eyes of our Prabhupada, because it is Prabhupada who associated with Bhaktivinoda Thakur and learned everything from him. And it's from him that we have come to know about Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So it is his opinion that we should actually try to follow. And he reconciled the apparent differences. He had so much nishta in the words of his own Gurudev. And Gurudev always said, nishta is the backbone of bhakti. One time Gurudev also, there's so many examples. So one time Gurudev, he went to see the brother of Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj. And there's a whole history about it, but Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami had rejected his brother for deviating from the line of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. From Odalami's point of view, actually, he did it just so he could save the properties of the Gaudiya Math. Because after he had apparently deviated, then after some years later, he restored everything back to its previous form and order. So, but because he had done that, Param Gurudev, even for 1 second, he had deviated from the line of Prabhupada. Param Gurudev said, if anyone goes to his temple or sees him, then they have to shave their sika, cut their neck beads, and take diksha again and fast for 3 days as atonement. Then they can come back. So there was some kind of Param Gurudev was very strict in regard to Odalami Maharaj. So Gurudev one time went to his temple, and why? He wanted to hear the glories of his own Gurudev from Odalami Maharaj. So when you hear sometimes from the glories of you hear the glories from a person who is inimical, it is more sweet if they glorify. So Gurudev, he went there and he heard some beautiful glorifications of his own Gurudev from the mouth of Pujyapada Odalami Maharaj. And when he was leaving, Odalami Maharaj gave him some Jagannath Mahaprasad. Now Jagannath Mahaprasad, it is so sacred that even if it falls from the mouth of a dog, one should pick it up and eat it. And literally you can see in Jagannath Puri, the Pandas, they have that nishta. And Gurudev certainly has that nishta. But what did he do? He took that prasad and he fed it to a cow. He did not take it. Why? It was nishta in his own Gurudev, Guru nishta. Because his Gurudev had that strong attitude towards Odalami Maharaj. Gurudev was following his Gurudev cent by cent. Okay. So, Dariyat means, even though there's some delay in attaining the desired goal, one remains steadfast in the path of devotion. There's a beautiful story that shows that how one time a sparrow laid her eggs on the bank of an ocean. And the ocean, he swallowed up those eggs. Then the sparrow came back looking for eggs. She saw that this ocean had swallowed up, and she requested the ocean to return her eggs, but the ocean denied. Then she said, if you do not return my eggs, I'll empty your waters, and I'll take my eggs back. And the ocean laughed. Ha ha ha! What can you, little sparrow, can you do to my ocean? And the sparrow then, what did it begin to do? It began collecting water in its beak and emptying the ocean little bit by little bit. So the sparrow was doing this and this again and again, and you can imagine how long will that take? How many kalpas, how many millennia that would take for a sparrow to do that? It's impossible. Yeah. But Garud, the king of the birds, when he saw this sparrow doing this, his heart melted, and he said, "Don't worry, I will help you." And when Garud started picking up water with his beak, then the ocean immediately came out, and the Garud is Vishnu's divine carrier. If he wants, he can expand his form. In one gulp, if he wanted, he could swallow the ocean. Yeah. So as soon as the ocean saw Garud, then he immediately came with his hands folded and he returned the eggs to the sparrow. So even though the goal may seem very far away, but we should remain as always steadfast in our practices. Another beautiful example is that when Mukunda Datta, when Mahaprabhu was giving mercy to all the associates of Mahaprabhu, then what happened was they asked him, "Why aren't you giving? You have not given your mercy to Mukunda Datta? Give mercy to him." Then Mahaprabhu said, "No, I will not give my mercy to him because he goes and associates. One day when he's with the Mayavadis, he glorifies them. When he's with the Ram Bhaktas, he glorifies them. When he's with the Smartas, he glorifies them. And when he's here, he glorifies me. He's not one-pointed, so I'll only give my mercy to him after 1,000,000 lifetimes." Then when they came back to him and told him that, "Oh, you'll attain Mahaprabhu's mercy only after 1,000,000 lifetimes," and he began dancing and chanting, "Hari Bol, Hari Bol, after 1,000,000 lifetimes I am guaranteed Mahaprabhu's mercy." Then when they told Mahaprabhu that, Mahaprabhu's heart melted and he called him and said, "Okay, I'm giving you my mercy because of your enthusiasm and your faith and your patience." Actually, this example is of all three. Utsaha, Nishchaya, Daryat. And Mahaprabhu said, "Therefore, but from now on you be one-pointed to my lotus feet." Tat karma pravartana means follow the angas of bhakti. That means those things which are favorable, and prohibitions, you should give up those things which are unfavorable. It's all included in the angas of tat karma pravartana. Follow the 64 limbs of bhakti, primarily 9 limbs, and out of 9, 5 are prominent. Sadhu Sangha Nam Kirtan Bhagavat Shavan Sri Murtira Maturava Sri Murtira Shadhaya Sevam. And tat karma pravartana Sangha Tyaga. So this is very important. In the second verse, it said that it is unfavorable to associate with mundane people. And now again, because this point is so important, Rupa Goswami is alliterated it the second time. He's saying it's favorable to give up bad association. So bad association means I'm giving up people who are attached to the opposite sex. Of course, direct association with the opposite sex is unfavorable. That is, for a man is a woman, and a woman for a man. And Mayavadis, impersonalists, atheists, sense enjoyers, these all come under the category of unfavorable association. So it is very favorable to give up these kinds of association, because according to how you associate, that's how you will become. And if you associate with people who are unfavorable to bhakti, you will lose your bhakti. You'll be derailed from your devotion. And Sangatyaga Satovritta. Satovritta means to maintain yourself, just like our Guru Varga in the example has shown. If you're a grihasta, you maintain yourself by honest means. Honest means that you should work hard for your money, for your labor, not by some cheating scams, stock market, this and that. You're sitting on your butt and you don't do any work, but money's coming in based on other people's hard endeavor. Network marketing, all these things you basically cheat people and you engage people in your service, and they're working hard and you take money. This is not the way. You should work hard for your living. Simple means, not cheating, and honest means. If you're a brahmachari, you should live off donations and madhukari, bhiksha. On Dwadashi we go bhiksha to Mathura, and we take a little bit from each house, not taking too much from one place, little bit by little bit, like a bumblebee collects pollen a little bit from all the flowers. In this way we should maintain ourselves in a very humble way, like our Goswamis and our Guru Varga has shown. Okay. And these 6 things, being enthusiastic, having firm faith, being patient, following the limbs of bhakti, giving up bad association, and maintaining yourself according to the rules and regulations and examples shown by our acharyas, these things are favorable to one's devotions. Hare Krishna.